Welcome to the ZimmCast, a program dedicated to bringing you what's new in agricultural marketing. The ZimmCast is the official podcast of AgWired and hosted by Chuck and Cindy Zimmerman.
Hello and welcome to the ZimmCast. I'm Chuck Zimmerman. In this episode, I'm going to share some audio from the National Ethanol Conference. While Laura McNamara worked with Syngenta Seeds at Commodity Classic, which overlapped with the NEC, yours truly drove to Orlando and took photos, interviews, and session audio in a custom virtual ag newsroom on agnewswire.com. So, to start out with, Patrice Banks, she's founder of Girls Auto Clinic, who spoke at the NEC Women's Leadership Breakfast. She also spoke at one of the sessions. Hers was titled, Cultivating a New Crop of Ethanol Advocates.
My name is Patrice Banks. I'm excited to be here in Orlando with you all, not at Disney World. I wish it was a little bit warmer, though. I came from Philadelphia. We just got a snowstorm up there, and it's been really cold. But I'm really happy to see the sun and share my story with you about being the founder of Girls Auto Clinic and the Chicanic movement. And Girls Auto Clinic is located in Philly. We are a full-service auto repair shop that caters to women. We hire and train women mechanics, and there's a nail salon there to get your nails done while you wait for your car. And I love telling my story, and as you can see, I do get a lot of press. I was on the cover of People magazine. I've been in a lot of the legacy media like Time magazine. I've been in Glamour, Women of the Year, USA Today, The Washington Post, Good Morning America. You'll see a lot of that stuff on our website. One of my favorite interviews is with Jim Farley. He has a podcast on Spotify, and I always brag about this. I went right after Tom Brady. He got to interview Tom Brady, and my episode is the next one. But the reason that I get all of this press, I don't have a PR person, it's just me and my staff, is because I do have a really unique and sticky story about how I became a mechanic. People often ask me, well, is your father a mechanic? Or they think that I grew up in the industry, but I did not. I grew up with a single mom. We didn't even have a car growing up. We used to take the bus or walk everywhere. I'm actually an engineer. I worked for DuPont for 12 years, and I was an empowered woman in my 20s, or so I thought. I had a great career. I made great money. I had my own house. I had my own car, and I thought, I don't need a man. I was definitely really feeling empowered. But I called myself an auto airhead. That's how I felt. Even as an engineer, I thought cars were just for guys. You start talking about certain car terms like horsepower and turbo, and my eyes glazed over. I zoned out. And I didn't know how to take care of my car. And so sometimes if the car wouldn't start, or I had a flat tire, or a headlight was out, guess what's the first thing that I did? I called a man. And I'm like, can you help me? And it wasn't a very empowering position. It turns out I do need a man. And I didn't like the way that felt. So I started looking for a woman mechanic. I hated my automotive experiences taking my car into a mechanic. I always thought they were taking advantage of me. They were going to upsell me on something I didn't need. Tire rotations. I'm going to need filters, fluid flushes. And it really just depended on my mood that day. If I was tired and just like, all right, okay, just do it. Or especially if I hadn't eaten yet, I was like, no, you're not doing that. You're not getting me today. I didn't really know if I needed these things for my car. So it fed in more to the auto airhead and the shame that I felt of not taking care of my car well, not knowing what it needed. So I thought, if I find a female mechanic, I'll take my car to her. I'll feel better about my experiences. I'll feel good about my choices, and she can teach me about my car, and I'll be able to help a woman. So I asked family and friends everywhere I went, do you know a woman mechanic? I'd like to take my car to her. And nobody knew. So I decided to go to my trusted friend Google, and I type in female mechanic near me. And the first thing that popped up was the 10 top stock images of women mechanics. And of course, it's women in bikinis next to muscle cars. Inspiring, but not very relatable. Or they had a young girl with grease on her face, wearing a jumpsuit, holding up a plumber's pipe wrench, next to a tire. So also just not very empowering or relatable. I couldn't find a woman mechanic. I couldn't find education, resources, services to help me make better choices with my car. But one thing I did learn as I was researching women and cars, women are the #1 customer in the automotive industry by far. I was blown away at the data and the statistics with women in cars. Did you know that? The number one customer. Women hold more driver's licenses than men now across all age groups since 2012. So you know what that means? There's more women drivers on the road. I know that scares a lot of you guys when you think about women and how we drive, but it's the truth. We spend $200 billion a year buying and repairing our cars. We influence up to 95% of car buying decisions, and we're 67% of auto repair. That's a lot of power. But I also found out that women, 87% of us, are like me. They feel like auto airheads. They hate their experiences. They feel like they're being taken advantage of at the mechanic. They feel mistreated and misunderstood. And I thought that was insane. How is no one paying attention to your number one customer, the person who's spending more money in this industry? There wasn't resources, there wasn't education, there wasn't services. And being the engineer, problem solver that I am, I thought, man, this is a huge opportunity. So I decided to go back to school. I quit my job as an engineer, and I learned how to work on cars. I went into automotive technology. And I was the only girl. I was 31 with a bunch of 19-year-old boys, and I was learning about cars. And as soon as I was learning about cars, I was like, wow, this is interesting stuff. It's not hard. It's not rocket science. It's not just for men. That's what we're told as women. Cars are for guys. Don't worry about it. We'll handle it. Women can learn about cars, and we can talk about it in a way that's very relatable, and it's fun, and it's engaging. And I could not wait to teach as soon as I was learning this information. So I put together the Girls Auto Clinic Car Care Workshop, and I gave my first workshop to women while I was still in school. I skipped class that day. I remember I told my teacher I'm not coming, and they did deduct my grade. I got like all A's, but they deducted me that day, to be fair. And I went to the University of Delaware, and I gave my workshop for a sorority. And overwhelming, the feedback was so positive. The women were amazed at what they were learning. They felt so good about this information now that they knew about cars and how to take care of them, how to talk to a mechanic. And they asked me to come back to do more. And even the fraternity next to them were kind of peeping in on our workshop. They're like, what are all these girls doing with their hoods up, working on cars, getting their hands dirty? They wanted to participate as well. So I knew that it was my mission to get this information out to every woman driver. And that was my goal with the Girls Auto Clinic Car Care Workshop. And the reason that these workshops just really resonate with women and they're so popular, I do them in Philadelphia. I have been doing these workshops since 2013, every single month. I have never missed a workshop. And women will travel from around the country and the world to attend because they can't find anything else like this. I've had women come from Texas, Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, Illinois, and even Toronto and Canada, and from Central America to attend. And they love it because we talk about cars in a real way. We talk about cars in a fun way. Things like, does your car have boogies, when we talk about filters and if you need to replace your filter. Or I tell women the biggest mistake we make is we cheat on our mechanics or we shop hop. How many of us do that? I know I did. I didn't have a set mechanic. I would go to this Jiffy Lube, or I would go to this place or this dealer, right? But I go to the same doctor, my PCP, my primary care physician, for all of my stuff, whether I'm sick or I'm healthy. But I would shop hop or I would cheat on my mechanic, and that's the biggest mistake that we make with our cars, and we're more likely to be taken advantage of. So I tell women, find your PCT, your primary care technician. If they don't know how to pop their hoods, they're going to learn. It's interactive. You learn on your car. So they come in, they learn how to pop their hoods, what they can touch, what they can't touch underneath the hood. We change out filters, we check belts, we check all of their fluids. You know, I talk about how your fluids are certain colors. Your brake fluid is a white wine color or Chardonnay, right? Your apple juice color is oil, and then your coolant is like the neon colors. I also tell women the biggest mistakes that we make is often we treat our cars like our bad exes treat us. How do we want, to be treated? Communication is important in relationships. Our car is constantly communicating with us, but often we're ignoring that text message. We're not listening to it. We're turning up the noise. We're not committed in taking care of it, whether something's wrong with it or it is healthy, getting the maintenance done. We decode dashboard emojis. That's what we call them, dashboard emojis. Which ones you can ignore and which ones are very important to get taken care of right away. And one of my favorite parts about my workshop is the parts table. So I tell women mechanics can diagnose things by hearing, feeling, seeing, and smelling. So if we can hear, feel, see, and smell it, so can you. So we show them what we're looking for. We have brake pads there that are worn down and ones that are brand new. Here's what they look like when they need to be replaced, because we just use our eyes to tell you you need brake pads. So this is what we're looking for if you need brake pads, if you need rotors. We have filters out. This is how you know you need your filter to be replaced and how often you need to have it replaced. We show them suspension parts. Here's the noise you hear when your suspension parts fail. Here's what they look like when they fail. And we show them belts that are cracked, belts that are brand new. And one of the favorite sections of our workshop is when we get underneath the car. They love getting underneath the car. Sometimes it's the first time they've ever been underneath a vehicle and checking out all the parts underneath there. So we take away that stigma. It's very empowering. We want women to be smart consumers and confident drivers by teaching them, yes, you can learn about cars. It's not just for the men. And I love what we're doing, because when women come to this workshop, they come in feeling like auto airheads. You saw in my video where I'm talking about, asking questions. There are no stupid questions, I tell women. I have so many women come to the workshop saying, I know this is a stupid question, but... And I stop them right away and say, no, if it's in your heart, if it's on the tip of your tongue, you ask it, because that's how you learn. And we give them a space that's safe to ask questions where there's no shame. I used to feel so much shame about it. Oh, I didn't do this with my car. I didn't do this right. And I would go in and they're going to be like, wag their finger at me. And we give them a safe space to really learn about cars and to boost their confidence when it comes to trying something that's different or new that they thought they wouldn't learn, they couldn't learn, it was just for men. And what happens is they come in as auto airheads, and then they leave feeling inspired. They leave feeling empowered. They can't wait to take their car into a mechanic to test out their new knowledge. They want to go and talk to their husbands or their dads or their brothers, their spouses about cars now. And some of them actually want to do workshops. They want to learn more. They often come to me and say, I want to be a mechanic. I want to work with my hands more. I really enjoyed this workshop. How can I be involved? And that's what's so great and makes me feel so good, that I'm helping these women change their identity, change that story they had in their head that cars are just for men. It's something I can't do. And what that does is it gives them the confidence not only to be better to their cars and work on their cars and take their cars in for the things that it needs, but also they think, what other stories have I told myself in my head that's not for me? So we're helping them build this confidence and get this new identity. And I knew I needed a name for these women. And I think back to people like Lady Gaga. She's got her Little Monsters, her fan club. And Taylor Swift has the Swifties. Beyonce has the Beehive. So we came up with the word Chicanics. And that's what we call these women. We go from auto airheads to Chicanics. And a Chicanic is not a woman mechanic. It's a car-savvy lady. She feels empowered with her car. She knows she can learn about it just like a man. She's not afraid to get under the hood if she needs to. And she inspires other women to do the same thing. And so here's the thing about my workshops and my Chicanic community that I've been building over these past 13 years. They're free. I've been hosting them every single month for 13 years for free. And like I said, we have women come from around the country, and I get this question asked every day. When are you coming to my city? When are you coming with the repair center? When are you coming with your workshops? The Girl Scouts want to do workshops, Girls Inc., all these women organizations that are very excited to learn about their cars and learn how to work on them and not feel like they have to rely on a man. The problem is, like I said, I offer them for free, and it's just me and my staff. I don't have any partners. I'm bootstrapped, right? And I'm trying to figure out, how do I get this information to every woman driver? That's my goal. So I knew I needed money. And this is where a guy named Robert White comes in. He is from Renewable Fuels Association, and he emailed me one day, and he says, I think that your workshop would be a great partnership with RFA in teaching women about ethanol. And I said, okay, let me do some research on this. I knew a little bit about ethanol, but not too much. I didn't know who RFA was. So I wanted to do some research, and he kind of said, you're going to vet us? We're trying to give you money. And I said, yes, it's very important that I know what I'm talking about in an authentic way, in a real way. This community is very important to me, and I need to be able to sell them products and services and resources and education that they're going to trust, because they trust me. I call myself the #1 woman trusted brand in automotive. So I started doing research about RFA and ethanol, and it turns out Robert was 100% correct. This is a great opportunity, a great partnership to get the information out there about ethanol and the benefits it has, just not for their pocketbooks or their wallets, but for the environment in their cars. And we have created and incorporated a whole section on fuel into these workshops. And it's one of the sections I get the most engagement and questions on besides brakes. Women want to know what type of gas they should use. Should they fill up in the morning? Is it going to save them gas? Should they fill up when, the tankers are there, refilling the underground tanks with gas? And of course, they always want to know, where can we get E15? Where can we find ethanol? There's not many in the Northeast. I hope we get some more up there soon. And we give away a RFA-sponsored $50 gas card for the woman who's come the furthest just to attend our workshops. And because of Robert and because of RFA, we have been able to now, I have hired 3 women to host my workshops, and I can pay them to do this. We're giving workshops in New Jersey and DC, besides Philly. And I've been able to reach over 20,000 women in our Chicana community with information about ethanol and the benefits that it has for them and the environment and for the United States. So I'm grateful for people like Robert and Renewable Fuels Association for believing in us and what we're doing and wanting to be a part of this Chicanic movement and helping women become confident drivers and smart consumers. And I invite you to go check out our website, girlsautoclinic.com. You can learn about more information about what we're doing, not just with our workshops. I'm an author of a car care book. I have my repair center that we hope to be expanding soon. We hire and we train women apprentices to become mechanics. And of course, you can always get your nails done when you come. Every customer gets a free manicure with their service, including the guys. We often get men say, well, can I come to a workshop? Is it for men? Can I come to your shop? Absolutely. We love men and we love their money. So we'd love to see you there as well. And don't feel ashamed thinking that, I'm just going to be a guy here around a bunch of women. We're very welcoming to everyone that wants to learn this information. Next month, I have a live stream coming out sponsored by RFA. It's an Ask Me Anything for Women's History Month. So if you go to our website, you can join our newsletter and find out more about that and how you can get into a workshop. They're very hard to get into now. We've been doing them for 13 years. There's a waiting list. Usually women take months to sometimes over a year just to get into one. So make sure if you want to come or you'd love for us to come where you are to do a workshop, please reach out to us on our website, girlsautoclinic.com. And thank you so much for your time today.
Renewable Fuels Association staff member Kendra Colson, Marketing and Membership Manager, helps with educating new audiences, and she has worked with Patrice and her audience. Kendra, first of all, introduce yourself to us. Tell us your name and what you do.
I am Kendra Colson. I am the Membership and Marketing Manager here at RFA.
Well, it's good to meet you here, and I understand that you've been involved working with Patrice Banks with Girls Auto Clinic. Sounds very interesting. Tell us a little bit about how you're working with her and what you guys are doing.
So at RFA, our marketing team was trying to identify new audiences where we could do some outreach, educate about ethanol, inform people, not the traditional audience that we currently have. And Robert White, who is my boss, actually found her a couple years ago. And they started a partnership. It was a trial run to see how that was going to go. And she started incorporating ethanol into her curriculums at her workshops, and it just took off from there. So that was about 2.5 years ago, and she has just reached so many audiences for us on the East Coast, mainly women, that normally we wouldn't be able to do ourselves.
So when she's doing speeches or at a meeting or something, then when it comes and this thing called ethanol comes up, she's prepared to talk to them about what the value is for, right?
Yes, she's able to present on the topic to conferences or news outlets or at her workshops. And at her workshops is really where she shines. I was able to attend one of her workshops in November and see the type of questions she received. She has a whole section about ethanol. So we stood on the ethanol section for about 20-30 minutes just asking basic, business to consumer questions that we as as RFA, as a trade organization, we know we're very technical people, but day-to-day things that normal people who maybe have never heard of ethanol before or didn't think that their car could use it, what color is the handle that I should be looking for? Does it work in cold weather? So I was able to see that practical application in real time at her workshops, and I was also able to see how she was able to talk about it and to educate her consumers on it as well.
Well, with the leadership meeting this morning, there were a couple questions there. What is it that people are asking when they get to talk to her?
I think they're mostly interested in her story. I think her story is it's just a neat kind of comeuppance. She was raised by a single mom. She started this all on her own after being an engineer at a large company for 12 years. So I think people were really interested in how she is achieving that, what are her plans for her future growth. And it's also really relatable. A lot of women prefer to work with women vendors. They seek out a doctor, they seek out a dentist that's a woman, and not seeing that in the mechanic market or the automotive market. Everybody had a story. Everybody had a story about, I went and bought this car, and this man, upsold me on this product, or this man said these windshield wipers were $200. So every woman in that room had a story. So it was really refreshing to see their faces light up when she started talking about the need for more women mechanics.
Well, good job, and great to meet you and learn what it is that you're doing with RFA here. So here from the National Ethanol Conference, I'm Chuck Zimmerman. On a different topic, RFA has scholarships. They're given out at the NEC. I thought you might like to hear how one winner of the Young Professionals Network Scholarship, Verena Hopkins. I'm visiting with Verena Hopkins, and first of all, just introduce yourself. Tell us your name and what you're doing now.
Yeah, hi, my name is Verena. I'm originally from Brazil. And right now I'm working as a sales representative for IFF, International Flavors and Fragrances, in their grain process unit.
Well, you are one of the recipients of the RFA's Young Professionals Network Scholarship. Describe that. What is it, and what does it mean to you?
It's been very nice. I just came into the industry not too long ago in July, so looking around, trying to understand a little bit. Once I got hired, a colleague said that RFA was a good place to start, like from the website, and then that's where I found more information about the Young Professional Network. And it's just a great way to start and network and meet people that are within the same range of age and have just started or are a little bit longer in the industry than you are. So just a great place to kind of start networking and meet people.
So it sounds like you're on your way to a career there.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so. I've been enjoying a lot coming from production. It's very different, but this is one of the things that I was looking for, a position where you could have more interaction with people. You can try to help solve their problems. A good day in production is a boring day, a day that nothing that is crazy happens. And I wanted a little bit more crazy days. So the sales side of it really caught my attention. So I'm excited for that.
What would you say to folks your age, where you are in your career? What would you say about being able to possibly see if they could become a young professional?
I think the biggest thing is just to ask questions. Even if you think they're stupid questions, just be curious. It takes you to incredible places. And even with this position, I've never been in sales before. And I was looking and I'm like, well, I can do fermentation. I can do this. I can do that. And I was like, well, I'm going to ask about this position. I don't know, maybe it will be a good fit or not. And I went and talked to the recruiter before applying. And maybe some people are just going to look and, that's not going to be, I don't check all the boxes. But if you're curious and if you ask questions, things might work out better than you thought so.
Have you been enjoying the National Ethanol Conference?
It's been great. No, it's been amazing. People have been incredibly helpful, just coming in, chatting, especially knowing that we're scholarships and we're new to the industry. People come in, they talk to you, give you tips. So it's been incredible. People have been very, very nice.
Well, thank you very much, Verena, for visiting with me here. Good to, and congratulations for your scholarship here at the National Ethanol Conference. I'm Chuck Zimmerman. If you would like to hear more about what's going on in the renewable fuels world and specifically ethanol, check out our virtual newsroom. We've got plenty more, and besides the newsroom, you can see stories from it on energy.agwire.com and the latest episode of The Ethanol Report. That's the ZimmCast for now. I hope you enjoy it, and thank you for listening.
You've been listening to the ZimmCast, the official podcast of AgWired. Check us out at www.agwired.com to find out what's new in agricultural marketing.